Just think about this. Think about every time there's a school shooter in America. We don't bomb that building to save those kids inside. We don't shut off the water and the gas and electricity and starve those children inside that are being held hostage to get out that shooter. We don't expend the lives of the innocent for that one shooter. We don't do that. So why is it all right that we're doing that over there? Why is that all right? What makes it any different? That's the thing that everybody needs to pay attention to me. Is that, like, look, war in any degree is bad. You don't know who was actually done wrong. And is this really justice or is this revenge?
Welcome to the podcast where we talk about cannabis.
Community violation. Code Green Plant.
So when your best friend says you need to have a disclaimer in the beginning of your podcast because the lawyer in her is screaming, you do it. Here's my disclaimer. I am not a doctor. I am not a therapist. I am not even an expert. I am you. I am bringing information to you as I see it. But don't take my advice. Make your own choices and make them good choices. On with the show. Hello and welcome to Code. Apparently.
That's my intro. I'm so tired.
Hello and welcome to Code Green Plant. I'm your host, Christy Chanel, and I am here with Phoebe James.
Go Rangers!
There we go.
Hi, Christy.
Go Rangers.
Yay!
Hi. We are so proud of our Texas Rangers, and we're Texas girls, so of course we're going to love our Texas Rangers and Mavs and Dallas Cowboys and Stars. I've been to all of them. All four.
Okay. We haven't been to a hockey game. We go to the others quite a bit. Quite a few, actually.
My aunt used to get season tickets it was like a split between the Stars and the Mavericks. I was able to go to each one of those with her, so it was really nice.
Yeah, you know what? I just had the sudden ping of emotion of like a downside to us winning the World Series.
A downside?
I know. Well, my son, he's just turned 9 about a month ago, and baseball seems to be the sport he's flourishing in. Out of all the sports he's tried, he does well in all of them, but baseball seems to be the one he likes the most. It's the one I like the most, and he's really good at it too. And so I was starting to think about getting season tickets to the Rangers, because we already go to the games. We went to 2 this season. We usually go to a few every year, and we live 3 X's down from the stadium. Mm-hmm. And we were talking with parents at Little League, like at a game recently, and the guy was saying he used to have the season tickets, but he let them go. And it made me like, I think it's time we get season tickets. And I don't know that I'm going to be able to afford them now.
Have you looked at prices?
I haven't looked. I just came up with this idea in the last few weeks, and I'm like, I should have tried to look into it before. I didn't think about it because the season was ending. You got to get them, I think, ahead of the next season, but that could be a downside for me, I guess.
In tickets to the Dallas Cowboys. I know one game, it's like the biggest gift to myself and my son. It's like huge. I was able to do it not this year, but the year before, and give it to him as a Christmas present on Christmas Eve, and our game was the next day or the day after Christmas. That was pretty exciting and a lot of fun, and yeah, I would love to have season tickets, but it's probably a gazillion dollars, just like the Rangers.
I'd imagine
for sure.
So. Like a year's salary at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So hopefully we get a lot more listeners so we can get our season tickets. That's the only way we're going to do it. Keep listening.
Right. Lots and lots.
Billions and trillions, right? Not an issue at all. So today we're celebrating Veterans Day, which will be on Saturday and November 11th. So what do we got going on today, Phoebe?
Today we have James coming in. James Massie coming back. He interviewed with us on some episodes ago, talked about his time in the military, and today he's going to bring a friend with him. He just said, I have a Marine veteran who I would like to bring on the show. Mm-hmm. Well, but we want to have him come on and talk and honor them and let chance to say thank you to some veterans and just hear what they have to say.
I know that you had mentioned a few minutes ago that you had a family member that was in the military.
We are, at this point, and it wasn't on purpose, but we've kind of become a military family. We have so many people in the military. So my stepdad, who, is pretty important to me. I haven't talked about him much on the podcast, but he was very important to me. I would say growing up, even though him and my mom didn't get together till I was 18 and 20. And they didn't get married until my late 20s. So him and I didn't really start building a relationship until I was in my late 20s. And I even lived in Dallas already. So it was a long distance, but we still were able to build a relationship. And they were together for so long that he became like a dad to me and really meant a lot to me. But he's a veteran. He was a combat veteran in Vietnam. And so I learned a lot about the veteran community, about the VA, Veterans Affairs, about Vietnam. I actually did several college papers on the subject because I found such an interest in it. Yeah, I just learned a lot. And he suffered from PTSD, so I knew some of the effects and how it can be such impairment to one's life, depending on how severe it was. And he actually died, and his death certificate said he died from effects of PTSD from his time in the military. Yeah, from Vietnam. So it's something that, like, Veterans Day means a lot to me. I know some people that's kind of just a holiday, or, they'll think of veteran, yes, but for us it's kind of takes a different meaning. I have a nephew who's a veteran Jared was in the Army. My nephew was Navy. And then my husband has 2 cousins who are Marine veterans. And so we actually have a lot of family members now that are.
Yeah, my family is not that ingrained in the military, but I did have 2 grandfathers that were in the military, but I don't have the family member right now that's currently serving, and I can imagine how scary that is.
And when they do serve, when they would go on deployment, I'd always do drives at work. We'd send packages, and so I would do a drive at work and say, hey, I'm going to be sending another package to my family member, and if you send a lot, they'll pass it out, they'll give it out to their unit. And so I would do that at work every few months. Yeah, and the veteran thing, it's very important to me, just with, like I said, my stepdad, because he was very involved in the veteran community, and he still participated in things, and like I said, it really impacted his life and changed the trajectory of his life. And he had a lot of negative side effects of PTSD. He did have a lot of community out of it, being in the military, and he made a lot of friends, lifelong bonds, but it just really impaired him, and he ended up on full disability. He couldn't work at a point. I know he didn't always get treated well, by just Veterans Affairs. Like, we do stuff. Like I said, I go to the parades almost every year. This year I'm not going to be able to because I'll be out of town on Veterans Day for work. But I might try to just find another one over the weekend. Uh-huh. Yeah, but like I'll go to the parades and there's not a lot of people there, and I always find that so disappointing. Whereas like you couldn't even go to the World Series parade. It was so many people you couldn't even go there. I mean, the Christmas parade, it's another parade. You can't even go. Like, I've tried to go to the parade downtown Dallas, and you can't because you can't see anything because it's so packed. And if you go to a Veterans Day parade, Christy, you're going to see a lot of empty streets.
That's heartbreaking, Phoebe.
It really is.
That.
It is.
I didn't know that.
I actually take off work. I usually, because I had, that's why I took off Thursday and Friday of this week. I canceled it because, like I said, I need to go out of town for work now. But I took off because I will go to the parade. My stepdad used to go, and he'd march in them. He'd be in the parades every year. But I do want to show you these because he was first Cav, and this is the symbol. I don't know if people, but it's combat veterans are a whole different breed of people. But these are some of the hats because he used to wear a lot of hats. And what we also will do is we'll take these and we'll pass them out at the parade if we see someone who was in one because he has so much extras. So me and my mom do a lot of neat stuff like that to honor my stepdad. One year, it was the coolest thing. It was the first Veterans Parade that my mom had went to without him because he had passed away and she moved here. And she'd only been here about a month. It had been only 3 months since he passed. And we went to the parade, and she had out the flag for the first Cav. She had a flag that she held, and I took Caleb. He went with us, and I remember he was wearing his Halloween costume because it was, Halloween had just passed. So he's out there dressed like Gecko. It was so cute. He's in his little wagon dressed like Gecko, and my mom and me are holding the flag. A convoy, it was like a huge armored truck, And it had like, some trucks behind it. He stopped in the middle of the parade route and the guy jumped out, and it was a big buff, very G.I. Joe looking straight up hero, and he stopped the whole parade, jumped out of the car, ran over to my mom and gave her a hug when he saw her holding that flag, because he knew that unit is almost like famous for what they did in Vietnam, because they were the ones that would come in when a unit was having trouble and they were, basically getting inundated and they needed help. My stepdad's unit is the ones that would fly in and they jump out of the helicopter and come in and help them. And so he saw, major violence and darkness, but it's also known as being like that unit that's like, wow, wow, okay, I know what you've been through. If you know about the military, you know about that unit. So it was one of the most moving things ever. My mom started crying and he ran, then he just ran back to his truck and jumped back in his truck and started driving again. Like I said, it being the first parade she'd been to without him, it was really moving for her, I know, and for us.
I can see the passion when you're telling that story. I know the podcast listeners can't see it if they're not watching YouTube, but you light up when you talk about it. I didn't know how passionate you were until today about it.
It's kind of like your thing with cannabis, I think. And that's why with cannabis, I have such a passion for the veterans, and why I was so like, and the audience don't know, but James was one that I'm like, we got to get him on. And like, I really want to drive in that direction because of that. It's something I did talk to him, Freddie, about before he passed, about cannabis and PTSD and how he felt about it, because he was actually, like my mom, I've talked about, Freddie was an alcoholic and a drug addict, so he was sober and had been for many years. And he had said, though, but if I didn't have my issues with, addiction, I would definitely smoke weed. I would use it for he's like, I wish I could, but I don't trust myself because it is going to lead to other drugs for me. He said, but if I wasn't the addict I am, I would definitely use it, and I would advocate for any veteran to try it for their PTSD. So this business, even though he's not here and I couldn't tell him about it, I know he would support it.
Well, I'm glad I know this about you. It opens me up to a couple of things. And one, because you're so passionate about it, we really should make sure that we do something towards that with Simply Vibin'. I think we'll talk about it more, but we can absolutely integrate the veterans into this and the cannabis and talk about it more on the podcast. I feel the love for the vet community as well, but I'm not as integrated into it as you are, and how it's such a part of your family. Mm-hmm. And I want to know more. With that, let's introduce James Massie and his military vet guest. Her name is Janette, and
thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. Yeah, we can't say that enough. All right, here we go. On with the show.
After talking to a lot of those homeless people, I found out something. That a lot of them were veterans.
Wow.
That a lot of them, they had to make that choice. Either they're going to get their 100% disability check, or else they're going to go get a job and their benefits are going to get cut away from them. And it's like, wow. So literally, you got to choose to be homeless just so you can get some help. You have to choose to be like this just so they give you your benefits. And it's like that is a truly scary thing. That literally, for you to get the help that you need, you got to live on the street. You have to put yourself in that situation. You can't be out here trying to do better for yourself and get the same thing at the same time. So it's like it's a choice. It's like do I want what they owe me? But if I get what they owe me, I gotta live like this. Or do I just want to say fuck it and do it on my own? But if I do it on my own, they're just gonna say fuck you to me, and everything else is just gonna be even harder. But at least I'm not gonna be homeless. So it really is. It's like I said, it's a catch-22. It really is.
Yeah. If you could say anything you wanted to people on this Veterans Day, what would you want to say? This is your moment. This is your moment. It's here.
On this Veterans Day, I'll say it like this. That we're at a crossroads, that we're going into uncharted territory in this country that us as veterans that we fought for. You know, regardless of whatever's happening in the future of this country and anything else like that, they can't take away the past. And in that past, we played a part in writing that story. And, you know, the guys that came home from Vietnam, they got spit on. The guys that came home from Korea, they got forgotten about. The guys that were in Iraq, I really can't say World War II because hopefully time has been good with them, and they've gone on to they're old now, so y'all are old now, and hopefully your hearing aids
Are
don't keep
working
me
and
up,
paid
but-
for by the government.
Yeah, that are getting paid for by the government. But at the same time, hey, you got people that fought in Iraq and Afghanistan, and then those little conflicts that you haven't heard about or barely even talked about. Well, one thing I just want to tell my brothers and sisters out there is look, man, it's every day it's gonna be a different hill to climb. Once you get up this one hill, guess what? You're gonna look up, it's gonna be another fucking hill right there to climb up.
You have to find the people who are willing to climb that hill with you.
Yeah,
And
we're
it's
all
always
out
going to
there.
be a small group of people. It's not going to be 20, 30 people. It's going to be 1 or 2, 3 at most. Those are the ones that matter.
Yeah, but just remember that, hey, no matter what, you got each other. We might be scarce out there, but we are there, and we all do have a story and a voice. We went through 13 weeks of hell in boot camp, or whatever it was in those little combat deployments that we did go through. It is possible, but whatever, just don't give up. Don't commit suicide. And there is things that can help out. I don't know if you're in California, but here in California, they got 611. You just pick up the phone, call 611. Hopefully, Chrissy and Phoebe will put in my email again, because there's my medicinal business and everything else like that. If you ever need to smoke, you just need somebody to talk to, you can hit me up on Instagram. Where colleges, a lot of these schools out here, they do have veteran departments and veteran sections. And America has been at war since pretty much my entire lifetime. And right now, you have veterans that are coming out that are at the age of 21 years old, or maybe even 18 or 19 if they got injured. But there are people of all ages and all races that for you to talk to. So I hope that this podcast or this thing, it does hit everybody's ears, and people are mindful and they do pay attention to what's being said, because we're not, I don't think at one time that any one of us sit here and beg anybody for help. We climbed that fucking mountain. We did it. That's the thing that everybody needs to understand, that yeah, we're not out here begging for shit, but we did put down a down payment. All we're doing is asking for what we deserve. And that's it. It's not hey, we want extra, we want more. Nah, nothing like that. Just give me, hey, look, I gave you $5. Just give me $5 worth. That's all I want.
Is there any donation areas that you like or trust for people to go donate? I know it's hard sometimes to find that.
Find the individual, because you get to an organization, they're gonna go find whoever's best for them. I mean, and plus, if you give them money, they're gonna take their 20-30% to say, oh well, we need this to pay our light bill or whatever else like that. But then you see Joe Schmo over there, and he's still struggling. He's still.
Yeah.
I mean, I really wish it was that easy.
I wish there was one that you trusted that benefits you in some ways, or I mean, I'm trying.
I'm trying to think of one.
I know you are. You are. And the fact that you can't name one right off, says a lot.
Right.
501Cs, they get caught up, and people are skimming off the top to, fuel their lavish lifestyle, and at the same time, they come on the street and they're like, hey, I got James here. We got him off the street, gave him a new pair of shoes and a, little apartment. But what they don't show you is just the rest.
Yeah.
Right?
I will say, at least out here, like I was telling you, Brother Bino's, because I know that at least they put their groceries out there for people to come get, and things out there just for them to come grab. And like I said, I did get a plate of spaghetti from them. All I had to do was walk in line. I didn't have to fill out no paperwork. I didn't have to do this.
Okay, that's good. We'll put that out.
Let me see. There's an organization called Interfaith. They have helped me. And I know of Interfaith because I think that they're at my school.
I think the two that you named, we can put on the screen and in the show notes, so that because they've actually helped you, so you can vouch that they've done something for you, and that's important.
But see, the thing is that it depends on where everybody else lives. That's one of the things that's really big about it, because we're in California, And you gotta understand that California just has a huge homeless minority, unemployment, just name it across the board issue already. So things like just veteran veteran help is just another issue that's just tacked onto the board out here. But fortunately, there is a lot of help for homeless and everything like that. So like I said, we do fall into that category. I will say that, try and start with either like your local VA or maybe like American Legion or Veterans Group, VFW, or,
But do your research. Don't just Google it and pick the first one off the top and like that's where I'm going to donate to, because some of them are shady.
So with the latest things that are happening right now with war, how are you feeling about that? Do you have any words you want to speak on it? I try to find the view that is not very narrow-minded and pointing me one way or the other. I try to hear all the sides to it because, you hear that this is corrupt and they're showing you pictures of this when it's actually this, and it's very confusing what people are seeing now, and it's hard to really know what the story is.
That's the thing about technology now, right? Lots of misinformation, different stories. I know here in America, it's really hard because people expect you to pick a side. You're not allowed to be in the middle. You are either pro-Israel, or you're pro-Palestine, or you're pro-this, or you're pro-that. And it's a delicate line to straddle, because me personally, having been to combat and having seen some of the atrocities that happened, and I'm a mother, so it broke my heart. I've always kind of just stayed in the middle. I've never been a Democrat. I've never been a Republican. I've never been independent. I always looked at the bills, and I read the bills and the articles and see, like, how does it benefit the people? How does it benefit veterans? And in this aspect, I can only speak for myself. I'm against genocide. I don't care who you are. If you're killing innocent people, you're in the wrong.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
exactly
that's the
how I
thing
feel.
about war is the collateral damage. The civilian death toll will always be higher than the military personnel. Always. And until people can stop hating each other, this is never going to stop.
And I like to chime in too as well.
Please.
As being a person that's been over there and things like that, when I was in the military, I would have been like, hell yeah, fuck yeah, let's go.
Get some.
Yeah, like get some. But I was also younger then. I didn't know the things that I know now. Like I said, I'm in school. I'm a sociology major. So at first, when I saw, hey, that Israel's been attacked and everything like that, and I saw what happened, the first thing that went through my head wasn't like, oh man, let's go get some and everything like that. The very first thing that went in my head was, what happened to push these people so far that they had to attack these people like this? Like these poor people, like what has been going on to these people that they felt like they had no other option? Because they know what they're up against. That's the thing that first went into my head, because as Janette said, that, genocide, murder, anything of that nature is not all right. And like I had to tell my mom the other day that I couldn't watch the TV anymore because I just kept on seeing all these little children and everything. I'm just getting messed up, and it's like they didn't do anything to deserve this, but I'm not okay with everything, because one thing, we in sociology you learn this word empathy, and how you have to see something from somebody else's point of view. And so I started, I put that little empathy into perspective, or into that role, because I just for you two that are watching me and everything like that, and everybody else that's listening, just think about this. Think about every time there's a school shooter in America, we don't bomb that building to save those kids inside. We don't shut off the water and the gas and electricity and starve those children inside that are being held hostage to get out that shooter. Mm-hmm. We don't do that. We don't expend the lives of the innocent for that one shooter. We don't do that. So why is it all right that we're doing that over there? Why is that all right? What makes it any different?
Nothing.
And so that's the thing that everybody needs to pay attention to me. Is that, like, look, war in any degree is bad. You don't know who was actually done wrong. And is this really justice or is this revenge?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, and
That's
so
exactly
it's so hard to know now. But what we do know is this, that yeah, we got one side fighting another, but what we have is some innocence sitting right there in the middle of it all. That's what we do know. And so no, I don't think it's right. I think that it's very wrong. I think that us just sitting here and supporting everything is very wrong. I mean, like, I get what's going on in Ukraine. I think, yes, that's one thing. But even, you know, to a certain point, hey, look, you know, people in Flint, Michigan are still drinking water from lead pipes. You know what I mean? That's just real. We got starving kids in Mississippi that can't even get the proper education. You know, but we're sending $14 billion to aid in genocide. So, you know, I think that there's something that really needs to be said, and that really is being said about how we see things in this world. No, I'm not going to say we. I apologize. How our government sees things. Because
They think they're supporting an ally.
yeah, they think they're supporting an ally, but to a person of color, like, this is probably one of the scariest things that you can see right now. And I'm just gonna be honest with you, because, you know, they say, hey, they pushed all these people to this one part of land, Gaza Strip and the West Bank and everything else like that. Who says America can't do the same thing to its people of color and its indigenous people? And it's already done to indigenous people that live here. Mm-hmm. So what makes you think they can't do it again? And I just said, but if they do that again, then what's to stop them from just dropping bombs on us and shooting rockets at us and doing all this other stuff? So I think that all this is a very important thing that people need to pay attention to. And
that's my next question.
Yeah, and it's about the perspective. So when you asked about, you know, how we feel about it and everything, at least I do, I think it's all about your perspective. I think that one thing that they have mastered is perspective. But, you know, as I turn on the TV and everything like that, I see that one thing does exist still, that people do have compassion. People do have, you know, a heart and some sort of feeling that they're like, hold on, America, you telling us one thing, but this isn't right. This isn't right, because, I mean, everybody seems to understand, yeah, Israel was attacked and everything like that, but everybody seems to also have that understanding that, hey, no, these Palestinians need to be able to protect themselves. They need, you know, to be able to live. And I do like seeing that the world does seem to have some sort of understanding that nah, you selling some sort of bullshit, like, and we can all see right through this. There you go.
Okay, so that leads into my next question. How do you feel about United States citizens being worried that we're going to be invaded in our own land right now? That's the rumblings that I'm hearing. People are nervous, you know, they don't know what's about to happen, because they talk about the borders and people coming over and a lot of different stuff. So what is your opinion on us being invaded in our own country?
We've already been invaded. We're already at war. I mean, you know, I hear my mom say it all the time, that the Civil War never ended. And she's from Arkansas. Like, I hear it all the time. Like, look, I'm a person that was born into a country at war. It's just that I was at war because of the color of my skin. Now it's a war of everybody else. So I mean, we've already been invaded. It might not be a physical, you know, bang bang bang, you know, shit like that, but it's been invasion up in here.
It's definitely homegrown. I know, me being Asian descent, during these last few years, during COVID, you know, I always found it funny about, oh, cheat, go back to where you came from. Like, Colorado. Like, I ain't trying to go back to the snow.
She is country as fuck.
But you know what I mean? That, or like, I had a conversation with my oldest daughter. She was walking ahead of me with her sister, my little girl, and just out of left field, I was told, you know, that COVID was my fault, and I'm a piece of shit, and I need to go back to China. Mind you, I'm Korean, but apparently we all look the same. And I had to have a conversation with my daughter. I said, you know, because obviously my girls are mixed. And I was like, I hate that I have to say this, and it pains me to say this, but I'm glad that you are white passing. Because if you look at my girls, they are fair skinned, they have lighter color hair through genetics, and you would never know that they had Asian in them. And you can tell they do get treated differently. And that's just the sad reality of things. And then, like, when I talk to people, and we get down into the nitty gritty, and I talk about, yeah, you know, I'm a Marine Corps combat veteran, and all this other stuff, and I'm born and raised here in the States. Some people, their attitudes will shift and change, and then others still just, to me, I think they've just been so brainwashed by the media and propaganda and all kinds of stuff that their opinions are not going to change. It's already set. It's in their mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't fix that.
Perception's a motherfucker in this country. It's that perception, you know, that this is what you are, is what I think that you are, not what you call yourself. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, when you say, hey, are we, you know, people think about war and all this other stuff in this country, and that, oh, we're under attack, and we've been under attack. It's just that people didn't realize it. People, because, you know, I mean, just you know, think about it for a second. You asked the question, Christy, if we're under attack, right? So let me ask you a question back. We're gonna play a little game right now. Okay? Who is it that you feel is under attack? Who is it that you feel would be under attack? Oh, hold on. Let me give you a little category. Would you feel like in this country the people that are under attack are just average people, American citizens, or just the whole world is under attack? A, B, or C? Let me put it to you.
I think it's the whole world is being under attack, but I also feel that when I asked the question, I wasn't necessarily talking about us doing that to each other, which is a very real thing.
Right.
I more was asking the question of, should we be afraid that they're going to come in and attack the Jewish people? Should we be afraid that to go to public events because there's going to be guns and there's going to be, you know, mass casualties? Besides internally, I get that. It's already a real thing internally. But I meant outside forces coming in and invading us, doing more damage than we're already doing to ourselves.
Yeah. Well, that's the point I was getting to, is that we are the outside forces, because I think one of the problems is that we have going on right now is that people don't see people such as myself and Janette here as just being citizens of this country. And I think that's the problem, that we don't even see our neighbors as citizens. We see each other as an outside factor coming in. We see each other, you know, because we're a country. We're a country of foreigners. We are not unless you're indigenous.
Melting pot.
Yeah, we're a melting pot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what it is. That's why I said we're constantly under attack, because it doesn't matter who you are in this country, that it's always going to be some sort of outside factor that's coming in, and they're going to say, "Oh, well, we're under attack. We're under attack." But so when you say, "Hey, is it going to be somebody else that's coming in to attack us?" It doesn't have to be anybody else. It's us from doing it to ourselves, because there's no clear-cut definition of what a U.S. citizen is. Because, you know, like, again, you're talking to a person that was once seen as 3/5 of a man in this country. So I mean, you know, we have some serious and eternal things to deal with, and that's what sees that whole external factor. That's what I'm saying. Like, hey, look, everything's an external factor, because we can't even define who we are.
You make a
Kind of
great
go
point.
back. Everyone has to understand there's always going to be outside forces. And we can't control that. You know, take, for example, 9/11. We didn't know what the hell was happening until it happened. And even then, when it happened, we didn't know what it was. Unfortunately, because America is so good at what we do, and there's a reason why everyone always wants to come to America, that automatically puts a target on our back from other countries. And so that is a reality that as Americans we're going to have to live with.
Yeah.
So we're going to have the outside force that wants to take us down. But in the current times, in my opinion, we're already doing that internally. The rhetoric is real, and people believe it, and they run with it, and they don't take the time to, you know, research and get an understanding or have an open dialogue with people, because it doesn't fit their narrative. It doesn't fit what they're trying to achieve.
I don't know everything, and I'm not even going to pretend I do. So that's why I welcome the different opinions and the different views, and opening my mind to learning what I don't know. And I feel like just me asking the question and you giving that answer has opened my mind to something I didn't even put there. Do you know what I mean? I was more thinking about what's coming in instead of what's already here. And yeah, thank you for opening my mind to that, because it wasn't that way when I asked the question. So,
Well, you think anybody really wants to come over here?
Some people
I mean, I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, look. If I was anybody else, I'd be like, no, man, you can keep this shit. Oh.
Well,
Seriously.
I know.
Like those aliens that me and Phoebe were saying nobody cares about right now.
Oh, here we go with the aliens.
I'm just saying.
I was thinking of James, though, when she asked if we're under attack, like, or we're at risk of being, with aliens, but
I'm just saying, the aliens are probably even there. They're like, look at Earth right now. Hell no, I don't want
we don't
that
even,
shit. They're like,
Facts.
oh no, skip, next planet.
They gotta get it together.
Like they're on intergalactic Tinder. Left, oh, woo, right. Like you just pick a problem. Just pick one. The only thing we got going on right now is probably, damn, I gotta take a while to think about that one. Maybe, what, Tay-Tay? Tay-Tay's on,
Okay.
You watch football,
Who?
you see some Tay-Tay?
Swift.
Oh.
I caught on that real quickly. Is he coming with the sound effects now?
That's awesome. I love it, James. He came ready.
He's prepped. We don't even
Oh, y'all
have
can
sound
hear it?
effects. Yeah, we can hear
that.
it.
Okay, we could hear it. All right. So.
Okay, so I'm the one doing all the editing and putting it out and doing all of that stuff. So the last time I edited a James conversation, it was over 2 hours, and it took me 5 to 6 days of redoing it because you pack so much information. So I've learned from that, and because of that, I'm about to cut. I loved you guys being here. I learned something. I think the people that follow me will learn something. It wasn't just in the cannabis lane, and I do want us to be able to talk about things that are very relevant and important, and I feel like you added that quality to this show today, and I'm appreciative for you, your services, and sharing your journey and your story. So I want to thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
All right, so tune in on Wednesdays and Fridays. Hit the like and subscribe button. Follow us. Hit the bell to remind yourself that we are here and we have something to say. And I'm sure we'll have Janette and James back on. And thank you.
I have a new toy next time.
Keep simply vibing
Awesome.
with us. A new toy. Okay, so we're going to plan those sound effects in the next show.
Hey, people, y'all need to make more demand for James and Janette. Put more James.
All right, well, thank you guys. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
This episode of Code Green Plant was sponsored by Simply Vibin LLC. Code Green Plant is a Simply Vibin production hosted by Christy Chanel along with her co-host Phoebe James. This podcast is not intended to be used for medical advice and is solely the opinion of the host. Please consult your physician. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Want more? Visit www.simplyvibin.com. And a special thank you to the core group of people who helped with the creation of the Code Green Plant podcast. We appreciate you simply vibing with us.
Code Green Plant.